Can you see the countdown, guys? I love the
I can.
countdown.
I know. She gets very excited about the countdown.
I love the countdown. Here's what I think is so fun, right? You and your mom are both like on the good old Instagram doing your thing.
Yes.
I love that.
Wait, your mom's on the Instagram too? We need to find your
yes.
mom.
My mom is Gigi Made It. So it's Gigi
That's your mom?
MADEIT. Yes,
That's your mom? That's
your mom. I don't know. Was it in the Explore? Somehow I saw her account. I'm not a, what do you call people? Yarners? What do you call
orange lady?
Yarny. Yes,
I'm not one of those people. So I don't know how she popped up, but like she was in either my feed or on the Explorer. I was like, who is this black lady doing all this good stuff? And I clicked on her and I was like, oh, she's got so much personality. I am here for all of that. Although
my God, I love your
Yarny,
mom.
but she is full of pizzazz.
Thank you so much. So when I do things like this, right? Like I've been on a couple of podcasts, I've spoken at a couple of places in person. I'm still getting used to it, but I always lead with my mom because she is like the star of my life. And I don't think that she realizes it, but a lot of what I'm able to do is because I see my mother doing it every day, with such grace. Out of sheer enjoyment.
I love her so much.
Oh my God.
And you go to her profile and you're like, you know what? I want to have tea or coffee with that lady.
I do. I also want her to dress me for a day because I just want to see what fun she'd put me in.
Listen, all of that orange drives me crazy because
that makes her happy.
I'll give y'all a funny story. So a couple months ago, now everything is orange. I need you to understand, like when I say everything, I mean everything is orange. Like you go into her room and it is an orange abyss of
really?
Yes, orange. And if you look through her page, like she has a really inspiring story behind that. But she calls me in her room, like we were saying before, the tone of voice, right? And she's Shelbey. And I'm like, yes, ma'am. I can't find my laptop. So I'm like, so in my mind, I'm like, girl, like where would a 16-inch MacBook Pro go? It's like in this little bitty apartment that we have, there's only but so many, like girl, a MacBook Pro is a decent classic. So gotta be polite, right? Because it's my mama. So I'm like, okay, like did you look, like did you go in the bathroom with it? Is it in the kitchen? Like did you take it outside? Like what are we doing? So now she's getting even more angry because I'm not empathizing with her, apparently. She's just like, I don't like your attitude. I lost my laptop and I'm upset. And I'm just like, ma'am, how? Like how?
How do you lose a laptop?
To sit on her bed and she sat right on it. And you know why she couldn't find it? Because it has an orange case on it. Her bedspread is orange, like the case is orange, her phone case is orange, the pillows, the sheets, everything is orange. And she sat right on it. And then she looked up at me like, also, what you want to eat for lunch? I don't want to eat anything. I don't even want to talk to you
can't.
Because you were upset with me.
I can't.
Everything in here is orange, ma'am. That's not my mess up.
Oh no, I cannot.
Everything is orange. Everything. She only knits in orange unless she's making something for me. My favorite color is purple, so like she's made me an orange, see, everything is orange. She made me a purple sweater, but I rarely wear it because I don't want it to get like messed up. Like I want to have it forever. And I think for her, she takes that as like I'm not appreciative, but it's just like I want to hold on to it forever. I don't want to.
I understand.
Mess it up or anything.
If you wash it correctly, it will last you a very long time. I have sweaters for my grandmother that are decades upon decades old, and as long as you take care of them correctly, they will last you many years.
Everything is orange.
That is really funny.
One of our closest friends, Guy's Yarn, Lola Bean Yarn Co. Another person in my life that is like, they could do it, I could do it. They are like paving a path for me. But she is like my mom's yarn pimp because my mom says like, oh, I want to make this. And she'd be
And
like, all right,
boom.
how much yarn you need? And then she just dyed the stuff. They make me sick. They're so cute. Like their relationship is so cute. Like
I think that's so
well, you
sweet.
need a source. If it's expensive,
you do.
you need a
It
source.
is expensive. You do need a source. But
We're
it's
each
just,
other's
it's
sources
so,
for books, aren't we, Alyssa? We have a shared Apple Note. So
do you?
we have a shared Apple Note. So like she has a list of books that she's looking for, and I do too. So when we go book shopping, we check the list.
And then we
and if we see the books, we send it. This is all we do.
You know what? I need me a book friend like that, because I don't have any book friends. I don't have no book friends. I am the book friend. I'm the friend that reads all the time. I need somebody like that.
Yeah.
Because
it's
I'm
wonderful.
always buying books.
My boyfriend thinks it's adorable. He's like, you guys have the cutest relationship.
That's what the bow says. He also says we're complete book nerds, and he don't get it, but he's like, I love this for you. I love it for you.
Right. It's so.
It could be so much worse. Like,
well, what I always say is it could be drugs.
It could be.
Okay.
It could be alcohol.
Or a gambling addiction.
Right. It could be so many other things. And it's books, like, or it's yarn, or it's stickers. My mom went through a phase with stickers recently.
Right. And we're a cheap date. We don't buy the books. I mean, we buy a lot. We buy a lot of backlist books. We read a lot of backlist books, so we thrift a lot.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, you know, there are readers who are like, hey, it's a new release, they're on it. But we like a lot of old books. So yeah,
I'm a new book kind of girl. Like I like the smell of the pages. Like, and there's also something in my mind. I think because when I was a kid, like we didn't have the money for me to like shop at the book fair like everybody else did. So now at my big age, I could just go into a bookstore and ball out if I want to.
Completely understand. Absolutely.
Totally get
all of the new books
that
I want. So I think it's one of those things for me. But I love a new book. I love a new book. And I mean, I know it's gonna sit on my bookshelf for like some months until I get to it, because I'm not gonna read it right away.
Right.
But I have to have it.
I have a thing for library, like old library bound copies of books. My grandma was a librarian. I would spend in the school systems, and I would spend the summers in the library with her, like going through books and reorganizing books and putting up the new books, and just the smell of old books and that plasticky binding on hard, like it just makes me so happy. So when I find those thrifting, it's like, it's like my epic piece. I'm like, yes. The older and smellier it is, the better.
I genuinely love watching people do what they love to do. Like, it is so fulfilling just to watch somebody like in their element. Like, let me tell you all of the things about this.
Agree.
It's just so fulfilling. Like, you don't get to experience. I feel like we live in a day and age where it's just like, hide your feelings, like don't be stone faced, whatever. So you don't get to see that kind of like unmitigated, like just joy out of people anymore. So to see it is so much fun to me. Like I just love, like, what do you like, and tell me all about it. Why do you like it? I want to know, because now I'm excited because you're excited.
Exactly.
And like, how do I get you all of the things?
Exactly. So let's talk about that. So let's get started, folks. So we're back, guys. We're back.
27 minutes later. Let's get started.
We're right. This is what we do. All the rants. So we are here today with Shelbey. Shelbey by the Bookstore, right, on Instagram.
Shelbey and the Bookstore.
Shelbey and the Bookstore on Instagram, and we're very happy to have you on today because you have embarked on something pretty exciting that we want to talk about today.
Thank you.
So, shall we begin? Miss Shelbey has decided to start a bookstore.
Yay!
Round of applause. Round of applause.
Yes. It has been the most fulfilling yet terrifying thing. And when I tell you the story, once you ask, you're really going to be like, oh my God, you really did this in like 7 to 10 business days. And
let's back that up.
Let's back up to, who are you? Tell us a little bit about yourself. Give us your like social stuff.
Yes, tell us how you came on the gram. Tell us how that started.
And then we want to know, we want the whole story of how you came from point A to bookshop.
So, hi guys. My name is Shelbey. I will be 28 in a couple of weeks, and I like books. I've always loved books. Since I was a kid, I come from a family of very avid readers. My mother is an avid reader. My family, we celebrate Christmas and Kwanzaa. Kwanzaa gifts were always books. You know, like I come from that kind of family, and I'm an only child. That is very important because I walk, talk, and act like an only child. It's me and my mama, and that is it, and that is all. Um, so all of the things that I like to do, I don't need anybody else. I like to read books. I don't need y'all necessarily to read
right.
a book. You know, it's nice to have somebody to talk to after or while I'm reading it to be like, oh my God, what is happening? But I don't need anybody else. So beginning of 2020, just keeping it real, was depressed. I did not like myself. I did not like my job. I felt super inadequate, and I was in denial about it, right? Like my life was crumbling in a sense, mentally at least, and I was in denial. And I was like, okay, I need to get back to the things that I loved the most. What did I love when I was a kid, when I felt I was the happiest? Yeah. And I was like, oh, reading. I don't read as much as I used to. So I subscribed to all of these book subscriptions because I was like, oh, well, I don't know who the new authors are. I don't really know how to go about finding new books. So another thing about me, obsessive personality. I don't do anything small. Everything is big.
What's your sign?
I'm a Scorpio. Everything is big for me. It is big and dramatic, everything. So I didn't buy like a couple of books. Like I went and bought a bunch of books because I was like, oh, I need options. I need options. So a couple of months go by, and like I had read like 10 books in like 3 months. And I was like, oh yeah, like I feel good. Like life is still crumbling. I'm still depressed, but like this I need to hold on to. And I kept going in my mom's room like, mommy, let me tell you about these characters, girl, because it's messy. It is a mess. I am stressed. Like it's ghetto in these books, mom. And my mom is very supportive of me. Like if I decided that I was going to set up a stand on the side of the road and sell rocks, my mama would be with me. Like, y'all better come over here and buy my baby rocks because she's selling rocks. Y'all better come get my baby. She's selling rocks, dang it. So she was very like, okay, like this is nice for you. I don't know what you're talking about, but you're excited. So mama is excited. And I was like, oh, I need book friends. So I was like, I've always wanted to have a book club. And I felt like some book clubs were very serious, and it was just like I felt like I was in school again, and I was just like, I don't fit in with them people because I feel like I'm a new reader again. Like I didn't feel like I fit in. So I said to my mom one day, I'm gonna start a book club on this. Okay. And the thought literally like came into my mind of Shelbey in the book club, and I started Shelbey in the book club. Nice. And then when I tell you the importance of having people around you that support you, when I tell you one of my friends built my website for me and created a logo for me, another like people were just rallying around me like, oh, Shelby wants to do this thing. We're going to help her do this thing. Right. And like a month and a half, 2 months, and I had like 5,000 followers. And
that's amazing.
I was just, in this new space. So originally I still am Shelby in the book club on YouTube, and I still do the book club every month. We do Instagram lives to do the book discussions because I wanted it to be simple. I didn't want people to feel pressured. Like if you read the book, you read the book. If you don't get a chance to read the book, then you don't. We are adults. We have lives. Exactly. We are in the middle of a pandemic that people think doesn't exist anymore because they let us in the outside. But I'm just like, just come hang out. Like we can talk about it. Whatever, we can have fun. So while all of that was happening, I was sent to work from home because of the pandemic. And I was like, oh, I really like this. Now, another thing I want to mention is you got to be careful what you pray for, right? And whether you are religious or not, we all pray some way, shape, or form. You got to be careful what you ask for, right? Because I said that I wanted to work from home, and I said that I did not want to do my job anymore. And God and the universe and the ancestors and all of them conspired and said, oh, girl, we got you. We got you. We're going to tear all of this ish down. You gonna have to build it back up, but we got your back. We gonna be sitting out here watching you while you do it. It's gonna be great. So all of these things, I'm getting all of these things that I prayed for, right? I'm working from home. I was doing something very different than what my original job was. I worked for a bank. I was a personal banker. They switched me from that to working in the back office, where I was working in the business lending department, which was like super interesting to me.
Yeah,
right.
And then in August of this year, they were like, "Oh, we need you to go back to the branch." And I said, "Not with the Delta variant in the outside. Have y'all been out there lately? It's not safe. I'm not putting myself or my mother at risk, or any of the other people that I love at risk. It's not that serious to me." So now I'm freaking out, because I'm like, I can't just at my big age just be like, "Oh, I'm not fixing to have a job." Like, what are you going to do? And the thought popped into my head and was like, "Oh, well, you want to open a bookstore anyway, so open it now." And I was like,
"What?"
It's funny the way that your mind works, because immediately my mind was like, "Girl, you can't do that. What do you mean? What do you mean you're gonna open a bookstore?" So I have a friend that works in a bookstore, and I'm talking to her, venting to her just as a friend. Like, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but for the sake of my mental health and for the sake of, my physical health and my mother's physical health, I can't go back there. Like, I like the Shelbey that I am now. The Shelbey that I am today. She's reading. Granted, I'm growing and I'm still going through things, but homegirl is in therapy now. Like, we are achieving things.
Yeah.
I'm like, going back to that job is not an option. I don't know what everything else is, but that's not an option. And she was like, "Oh, friend, you can open a bookstore online." And I was like, "What? How?" So she gave me all of this information, and literally in 7 to 10 business days, I had a store.
That's crazy.
Can we talk about the importance of good friends?
I know.
Good friends. I built my website by myself. Like, went on Shopify and was like, "How do I do this?" Watch some YouTube videos. I actually just revamped the website, so it looks completely different now. But it's been 3 months. 3 months now.
Wow.
And we're up and running. And it's like, I think what I want people to understand the most is you don't have to have a lot of followers. You don't really have to know that much. You don't have to be perfect at everything, but you're gonna get to where you need to be. You just have to start. You literally just have to start. The rest of it is gonna fall into place.
Sometimes that's the scariest part, taking that leap and like being like, "All right, I'm gonna jump. Hopefully I land correctly."
If I told y'all, I feel like so many people look at me and they're just like, "Wow, you're doing all of these things. Like, I wish I could." And I'm just like, "Do y'all know that most days I'm in here having a fit, like crying? Like, I don't know what I'm doing. Who told me I could run a bookstore? Like, I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing it."
So let's talk about how you got the funding to start the bookstore.
So I did a GoFundMe because prior to the whole job situation, I knew that I wanted a store eventually. So I started a physical store, right? So I started a GoFundMe, and that was another leap of faith, because I was like, I don't want to have to ask people for money, right? Like, I don't feel comfortable doing that. Like, I barely feel comfortable asking for people for help in my regular life. Now I gotta put myself out here and express this need. But what I learned is, people see the vision in you before you see the vision in yourself.
That is
true.
And
it is okay. It is okay to ask for help.
Yes.
It is okay to ask for help, because the very worst thing that is ever going to happen to you is somebody is going to tell you no. And what I've learned is that no doesn't mean no forever. It means not yet. No for me has always meant not yet, because you have to think back to, when was the last time things didn't necessarily go in my favor? Not ever. It always works out.
Right.
I kid you not. There have been times, I'm young, but there have been times prior to this where I have been like, I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know how things were going to work out, and they always do.
Wow.
They always work out. And that's really what I live my life by. Like, okay, cool. Have your feelings, right? Be afraid, be tired, be depressed, be all of those things because you're human. And if we weren't meant to have feelings, then we wouldn't be feeling things the way that we do.
Truth.
Right? There's a lesson in those feelings every single time. But so feel them, but never let them stop you because whatever you're going through is a lesson to get you to where you need to be.
Yeah.
Right? I was miserable at that job for years.
Yeah.
For years. And didn't like myself because I was in a place where in corporate America, they just are easily telling Black women how inadequate we are.
Well,
We're too
that's
loud. We're wrong. We're not gentle enough. We don't work hard enough or whatever the case may be. So now here I am feeling inadequate when really, oh no, I needed all of that information because I learned a whole bunch of business stuff from that job that now I don't have to go to somebody and feel bamboozled because I know the information and I know how to do it. I know what I need, so on and so forth, right? If I didn't go through those things, I wouldn't have this.
Right. Yep.
I think that's like one of the big things about growing up, and especially growing up through this pandemic, is one, the importance of our community, and two, applying all the things that we've actually learned. Like everything we've done up until this point in our lives has value. And using that value to create a better life for ourselves. And it's leveraging those assets within your own community and within your the tools at your reach. You know, going on YouTube, finding out how to do something that you've been trying to do, whatever that may be. And like you can change your life with little things. It's not always a big, huge thing you have to do. Henny is making crazy noises. Like you don't have to do like anything really huge to really make a huge change in your life.
Yeah, no, you really
true.
don't. And sometimes all you need is somebody behind you saying like, I got you, you know, like I support you. All you need is that one or two people that are just like, oh yeah, I see the vision. I got this. And I think so often people see that as weakness because when I look at my Instagram page, like I can totally understand how people can look at it and say, oh wow, she's come a long way in a short amount of time. But I'm just like, yeah, if I didn't have my friends behind me telling me like you got this, it's okay to feel, and if I didn't learn that like running your own business is about learning. It is self that really is all it is. Like I'm on a journey learning myself, and that is manifested itself in a bookstore. So it's all about learning. It is just about learning. It's not, it's not as hard as people see it, but they let the feelings stop them. And there are a lot of things that I still let my feelings stop, where I'm just like, ain't doing that. Too scary.
It's a work in progress.
We'll run that back
another,
right. Like we'll run that back another day. We'll spin the block a couple weeks from now.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing at all. And I think that's the biggest lesson I think I want to tell people. Like, stop letting your feelings stop you. Feel them, unpack them. Why are you afraid? Oh, because I've never done this before. Okay, cool. Google is free.
All day.
Google is free. All day, every day.
You might have a friend that's like, hey, by the way, I know how to do that. Let me tell you how to do that.
Right. And just talk to people.
I'm happy to show you. People. You know how many people love to tell you how much they know about something? Like, this is what I learned working with, I've worked with a few surgeons over the years, and surgeons in particular love to tell you everything they know. And it's like the greatest learning tool you'll ever have as like a newbie in the world of medicine, because they want to, their ego wants to show you like, keep talking, but you could take that as arrogance, or you can be like, look, I'm going to use this as an opportunity to get a lot of questions answered, because they love it. And the more you ask them, the more you interact with them. And there's so many people out there in the world who are like, you want to learn a skill? Somebody's like, yes, your mom. I bet you so you went up to your mom, you're like, I want to know how to knit, and I want to know how to make this. And she'd be like, yes, I'm doing it.
Wait, she gets so excited when
people get pumped to
share
their
she
knowledge.
Gets so excited when people ask her, like, or when my friends show interest and they're like, can you teach me? And my mom is like, yes, we're going to get you some yarn. We're going to get you needles. I have this. I have that. We're going to do this. I'm going to teach you. Like, she gets so excited because you're right. Like, that's another thing that I've learned. Perspective is important, right? And I feel like a lot of my success has been because I've shifted my perspective. Like, it's not what's happening to me. It's what I get to experience, right? Like, I get to get up every day and do admin stuff. Like, that's going to be important because someday I can teach it to someone else, or I'll be able to use these skills somewhere else, even though I think it is boring out of my mind. I hate doing admin work, but I get to do it. Like, I literally get to sit in my living room and toss my dog's ball around while I'm doing work. Like, that is what I've been dreaming of forever, you know? So it's a lot about perspective, because if you I took a class a couple of weeks ago. So having the bookstore and my whole journey has opened a lot of different doors for me. And I was able to go to this retreat a couple of weeks ago called Squam Art Retreat. It was amazing. I took a class there called Mixed Media Narrative. And we made a journal, right? And a lot of what the class was about learning serendipity, right? Like, she taught us a bunch of different art techniques. And a lot of it was like, I'm going to teach you how to do this, but you can't necessarily control this technique, right? It's going to do what it wants to do, but I'm showing you how to use it, right? So all you have to do is do your part, and what you get is what you're supposed to get, right? So it's about perspective, right? If you go into something thinking that you can't do it, you're going to get that outcome. You're going to get an outcome that is, I can't do this. Right? You're going to be angry. You're going to be frustrated, because a part of that class, I had to, like, we sewed the binding of the book, right? And I don't sew. I'm not hemming pants. I'm not hemming pants. I'm not doing any of that. That is why they have the dry cleaners. I will give the people the all of the money. You do this for me. And I was sitting there like, this was fun until we had to sew it. Why can't I just glue this crap together? Like, I was in there frustrated. And the instructor, Kyla, who I've become like really good friends with, she said to me, she said, okay, put it down. She was like, I need you to take a deep breath. She was like, you have it in your mind from whatever other experience that sewing is hard. She was like, we are going to sit here and we're going to take a couple deep breaths, and we are going to say that sewing is easy, and then it is going to be easy and you're going to be done. And I was like, it really is that easy. Like, it really is just a shift in your mindset. It's being able to turn that negative into a positive, and then you're like, oh wow, hey, I'm sewing.
There you have it.
We need to make you like a motivational speaker.
Seriously.
I would love to.
Because you're just phenomenal.
You tell no lies, Shelby. You tell no lies.
Absolutely phenomenal human.
Thank you. I so appreciate that.
Wow.
I think one of my biggest goals is to empower other women. Like,
I think you're doing it.
You're definitely doing it.
Thank you. It's so important for me to. I was talking about my therapist with this. Right? We were talking about this because I was like, I don't see what people see in me, right? I'm just me. And she was like, no, you are not just you. Like, you are up here. She was like, and everybody else may be like down here, but they not where you at, right? And she was like, and that is fine. Like, embrace that. I was like, yeah, but I want everybody else to be up here too, because if I can get through whatever, they can get through it too. And like I feel like there's such a, everybody is comparing themselves to everybody else. Like, why can't I do this, and why can't I do that, and why my stuff don't look like this person's, and why whatever. And like, I really just want to tell women, like, listen, I own a bookstore in 7 to 10 business days with like little to no knowledge. Just a leap of faith that I was like, I'm going to do this, and the only outcome is going to be my success.
And that's nothing to sneeze at. That is a huge deal. So is it safe to say or assume that you have quit the banking job?
Yes, I told them, I was like, deuces.
We are not mad at that. We are not mad at that at all.
And terrifying. Like, I was in my mama's room crying because, like I said to you guys earlier before we started recording, like, my mother is my best friend, right? Yeah. And I do things because I love, like, catching her on the phone with somebody, being like, let me tell you about my baby. She did this, and
so
this.
Sweet.
That's important to me, because everybody else, I don't care what the rest of y'all have to say about me. My mama, though, that matters to me. Because a lot of the reason that the relationship that my mother and I have is the way that it is because I see my mother as a woman first, right? And a lot of people only see their parents as their parent. My mother is not just my parent. She is yarn famous. My mother is hardworking. She is a woman. Like, she is attractive. She is all of these things. Like, there were 27 years prior to me being born, that she had a life where she experienced things that I may know, that I may not know. So it's like she is a woman, right? She is just trying to figure it out like I am too. But to be be able to impress her is important to me.
Absolutely.
Because that means I've watched my mother sacrifice for me, right? Like I've watched her work hard and be stressed and be scared just to make sure that I was good. So if the least that I can do is like drive her to a yarn event and happen to make her proud, I'm
doing good.
Yeah. Wow.
So
I feel like Naomi, you have that kind of mom too, though.
I do. I love my
you
mom.
and your mom have that kind of relationship. I don't have that kind of relationship, but my mom's great, but not like that. Like you guys have. I love hearing people who have really good mom relationships, because like I have that with my dad, but not everybody has that.
So
like,
now I'm kind of jealous because my daddy, like, have y'all seen that TikTok where they're like, I know who's going to the nursing home, like that's me and my daddy. I know exactly who is going to the nursing home.
I will say, I will not pass go. I love both my parents.
$200.
I love both of them, and they were both really good friends to me as in my adult years. You know what I mean? Like, I have a great amount of respect for both my parents, mainly because when they divorced, they did it in such a way that I was not harmed or scarred. You don't realize those things until you're older, but they really did a good job at dissolving their marriage, but keeping the co-parenting intact and respecting one another enough and loving me enough to continue to do right by me by not harming me. And I'm so appreciative of that. So I love my parents dearly.
I love my parents dearly, but they didn't do that. They didn't do that when mine got divorced. But my brother and I have a really, really great relationship, and I always feel a little bit bad for single children, only children, because they never understand the joy of and the terror and the horribleness and the wonderfulness and the whole complex nature of having a sibling. And it is a beautiful, beautiful thing.
I don't think my mother and I would have survived
if there was another one.
Oh no. Me and my mother probably would have planned a coup. Like, we would have been like, this is not it. Because I think the best way I can explain our dynamic is we both like to be alone but together.
Oh, I get it. I get that.
That's my favorite kind of relationship.
Only child, like, so the things that she likes to do, she doesn't necessarily need company, and I like to read and listen to music or whatever. And it's like when we need each other, we unsurface out of our rooms and we like love on each other, and then we be like, all right, bye, see you in some
I love that.
We like to be alone, but just be close, be near. Like, I did good morning this morning, like, did you eat, are you well, you are okay, bye now. That's
I love that.
If there was another, we both would have. Yeah, no. Like, and they have to stay. Like, they have to stay here forever. Has anybody thought about it? I don't.
I'm fairly certain that's the thought process my brother had when I came out, but he likes me now, I think.
We wouldn't have. The type of personalities that we have, just me and her is enough. I do worry about the day that, like, something happens to my mom. Like,
let's not talk about it.
But I know that in my mind it's never gonna happen. But I'm like, I'd probably appreciate a sibling in situations like that, because, like, when my grandparents passed away, who were very, very important in my life, like, there was not a day in my life that I don't remember either talking to or seeing both of my grandparents. And they hadn't been in a relationship since my mother was a child. So, like, very, very, like, we were very, like, Sunday dinners together, like, very oriented. And then, like, my grandfather and my grandmother both were in relationships with other people, and it was still like, we are a family unit. So I like watching my mom having to navigate, like, losing her parents by herself was, I was like, oh, I don't like this. This is not. I don't like this. Can we get a fast for a rewind button? Can we I don't
Yeah.
like that.
Well,
So I think about it in that aspect, like, oh, it would probably be nice then, but other than that, we are fine with the dog. And some the dog is optional too, because he makes too much noise sometimes, and I'll be like, listen, you gonna have to find a home, sir.
I was watching one of your lives, and the dog was knocking over the camera or something, and you were just like, "You're knocking over the people."
Because I'm like, sir, what is
stop laughing?
He has so much personality. Like I want to get him those little buttons so that like I can teach him to speak, because his eyes are so expressive. Like I know, excuse my language, but I know he be calling me a bitch. Like I know he does. He be calling me all out of my name. Like, bitch, I know you hear me in here. I'm hungry. I gotta go to the bathroom. Come rub me. I know he be calling me out my name. I know he do. But he just, that's why I'm sitting in my car, because I didn't want him to take over the show, because he would have been like, oh, we talking to people? I want to talk to people. Like,
she gets it. She has a dog too.
He's downstairs because I couldn't set up downstairs because my whole table's covered in shit because stuff needs to go to them wherever. It's just a mess. Jesus has been putting stuff on the table again. I don't know why surfaces are just for depositing things all the time. But anyway, that's not a part of this conversation. But he just cries if I'm upstairs because he can't go up and downstairs anymore because he's so old. So he just cries downstairs because he can't see me. He doesn't even want me. He just wants to be able to look at me.
Listen,
and know I'm around.
I also think that Gunner thinks that he's my man, like I'm his woman. So like I feel like there's some like part of our relationship that we didn't discuss, and he's just like, well, you belong to me until my mother comes around. When his granny is around, I don't even exist anymore. He'd be like, oh, it's fine. She gonna give me the whole bag of treats right now. She gonna rub my belly. We gonna watch TV together.
Oh, that's so funny and adorable.
But me, like he is real. Like, why are you ignoring me? And I'm just like, I'm not ignoring you. Like, you're sitting on my feet. You're 100 pounds.
This sounds very familiar.
Your head is in my lap. I don't know how much closer we can get.
Yeah.
But he is that's in the car because he would have taken over the show.
Will go through Jesus if we go into the house at the same time. He will like run through Jesus to get to me. Like Jesus doesn't even exist. He will knock him out of the way. He's like, forget you. I don't know who you are. Go away.
Another thing he does, right? If I come in the house with plastic bags, he freaks out because he knows that something is in them. So like I have to literally like rush in the house, stand at the door, let him sniff the bags. And then once he realizes, like, oh, I don't smell anything in there that might be mine, he goes on about his way.
Oh, that is hilarious.
Yeah, they used to do that. When I had two of them, they used to do that every time I'd come home from the grocery stores. I would be, like, pinned between two greyhounds on my way to the kitchen. And I'd have to try to, like, get through them as they're going through the bags with their snoots.
It's like he can sniff out a toy, like nobody's business, and like I still don't understand it. So like sometimes I hide toys in my car just so I can get the groceries in the house in one piece without having to fight him, because he is just like, I see you have bags, Mom. There are always things in there for me. Don't you try to lie to me and tell me that there's nothing in there for me, because I know that there are the things in there. I know that they are.
You
gotta love dogs. You gotta love dogs.
He is
arguably better than people.
They are. I don't know. Gunner he is sassy. He has an attitude problem. But he's his mama's child. So he gets it honest, because
I know that
eye
feeling.
roll is ridiculous. When he is upset, he is upset.
Oh no, Hemi bites Jesus all the time. He's like, that's enough petting. Bite. And I'm like,
oh yeah, Gunner will
why does your dog always bite me? I'm like, I don't know. What did you do to him?
He will like put my hand, like he'll just like place his mouth on my hand, like, don't do that anymore. And
we're like, done with that. Thank you.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Wow.
We love dogs. So the bookstore. So does your bookstore have like a specific theme, purpose, mission statement? What is the ethos of the bookstore? I don't know why I'm getting all weird. I think I just need to eat food.
Food is important.
We're getting ready for food.
food is important, friend, because there are a lot of days where I forget to eat, and then I have to explain to my best friend why I haven't eaten anything since yesterday. But
Been there.
Yes. Been there, done that.
The big part for two big things for me. One, to get as many Black authors in as many people's hands as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Two is to diversify people's reading. I feel like a lot of people like to say that they are well read and they read the same author or the same kinds of authors. And there are no Black authors in there. There are no Asian authors. There are no Hispanic authors. No Middle Eastern. No nothing. You can just read the same type of. So how are you well read? I feel like a lot of reading is like traveling to me, right? You learn so much when you read.
Yes.
Even when it's not like, even if it's a fiction, right? The one example that I can give is well, I can give many examples, but A Woman Is No Man by
what is this?
What is her name?
That was a good one.
It was
I don't
so
know,
good.
but that book was good.
Like amazing. But the culture that I experienced in that book, I would not have gotten from anywhere else. You want to know why?
Because I don't know. Rum?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I was raging when I read that book. Raging.
I know this cover, but I've never read this. Sorry.
It is so good, and it's a fast read too.
It is.
It goes by very fast, but excuse me, it made me a little gentler, right? Because it was a lot of culture that, like, I'm nice to everybody. I not that I was like walking around like, I don't know why your culture is like that. Not that, but it's like when you have a knowledge of something, you address things a little bit differently, right?
That's absolutely correct.
Sometimes we all learn differently, right? And sometimes you need to see oppression in a certain way to be able to say, oh, that's what they mean when they talking about racism. That's what they was talking about when they was talking about this, that, and that. Now I understand because I can relate to this. So I want people to read more, because when you read more, you expand your mind a little bit and you expand your perspective.
This is echoing our first episode where we talked about reading diversely and what does that mean, and are you really doing it, and is it
because a lot of people
performative?
Message, because a lot of it is performative, but a lot of what my book club does is I mean, the year is almost up, so I can say this now. Each year, I mean, this is my second year doing it, but each year I plan to have a theme, and this one was all female Black authors.
Oh, wonderful.
Every book that we read this year was by a Black woman. And the point, like, I plan to make a video and do all of this, talk about it, but the point of it for me was, don't you ever in your life tell me again that you can't find a book by a Black woman.
Well,
don't you ever. Don't you ever tell me. You want to know why? Because I gave you 13 of them, because in November we're reading 2 books in 1 month. So 13 books by Black women I found for you.
Yeah.
So I don't want to hear it ever again.
I'm just like looking behind me. I'm like, let's count them.
But you know,
what do you want? What do you want?
Yeah.
But it's, I never want to hear it again, because you're not making the effort. But you know what? You got to give people grace, right? Because you expect people to give you grace. I make mistakes all the time. I'm constantly saying crazy stuff to people all day, every day. It's, my friends will tell you that is an extreme sport texting me, because you never know. You never know what you're gonna get. But I give people grace.
She has to talk to me every day, so she gets it.
You gotta give people grace. But listen, after this year, there is no more grace, because don't tell me that you don't know where to find it. Especially now that I have a bookstore, don't tell me you don't know where to find it.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting.
You read it.
Because we've talked about this. I don't know if it was in our first episode or somewhere. We've talked about the difference between like bookish social media worlds and like normal book world. I think we were talking about maybe like JKR or something, and how like there is a disconnect between what we all talk about on social media and like all the agendas or issues or dramas and all the other stuff is just not part of the regular person's reading life.
That's right.
But I've started seeing, so I think for a while you could blame some of the lack of diversity on what you're seeing out in the world. But now that, like, especially now that Barnes and Noble has changed, because that's the only real big bookstore I think that's really left, other than maybe BAM, but around here, they've changed their model of how they do their bookstores, and they're making them more like indies. I've noticed the shelves are looking very different. The tables in the middle are looking very different. So at some point, you're not going to be able to be like, well, I just don't know about it, because the titles are coming out of, you know, out of the darkness, and they're coming to the front, and you can't say you didn't know about this. You know, you can't, because it's here.
And I also feel like it's a lack of, like, we didn't have to, right? Like, for so long, people were complacent and they can live in their little bubble, whether it was maliciously or not. They can live in their bubble, but that is no more. You know, like, we don't live in a world anymore, and it's a shame that it has to be the 2021, almost the 2022, when all of these things are happening. But it's just like, you don't get the opportunity to be ignorant anymore, because there are resources, and we have literally, like, the world at our fingertips. Like, at this point, everybody has a smartphone, even if it's an Obama phone. Your phone is smart, and you can get on the internet. Like, you can get it, you can do the research if you wanted to. And if you don't want to, now we're in a place where people are gonna be like, well, why don't you want to? Is it racism? Are you?
Well, now you have to accept some personal responsibility for your own thoughts and actions, which is always a terrifying place for especially racist people to be, because then they have to have some self-reflection, which is
exactly. And nobody wants to self-reflect. Nobody wants to self-reflect.
Because it's painful.
Nobody wants to.
It's
That's the hard part.
But you know what? It goes back to perspective, right? Like, having to self-reflect is only going to benefit you in the long run.
Right. But some people don't want to go through that process of looking in the mirror, self-reflecting, and seeing that there's some shit there.
Well, also,
and they have to clean it up.
Literally just can't, because they do not have the mental fortitude to be able to have that self-reflection.
There's that too.
I also think about this, right? When I think about people that are just kind of stuck in their ways, when was the last time you questioned your grandmother? Right? Think about that. When was Granny told you something and you were like, Granny, that's not right. Not ever in your life. And me, my grandmother, Gail Glaspie, listen, I wasn't fighting that battle with a 6-foot pole, okay? Yeah. Whatever Granny said went. It was what it was. So when I think about people and them refusing to do certain things, that's what comes to my mind, and that's how I give people grace. When was the last time? The example that I can give you is when I was growing up and I would get the hiccups. My grandmother and my mother would tell me that meant that I was growing, right? But don't listen, it only gets funnier from here. So I'm in high school in a health class doing work, and I get the hiccups. I get them often. It's kind of embarrassing, and every time I get them, my best friend says, grow up. Like, you are an adult. Why do you still have hiccups? But anyway, so I get the hiccups, and someone in the class goes, hey, teacher, what are hiccups? And I confidently say, it means you're growing.
Oh, gosh.
It means you're growing.
Okay.
And everybody was like...
That's so embarrassing.
So now my teacher is like, everybody shut up, because I want to hear this one. This is going to be good. So now I'm like, y'all not going to see my face and call my mama and my grandmama a liar, okay? That it meant that I was growing, and that's what we're gonna go with. I don't really care what it actually means. Did I go home crying? Because mommy, why would you have me embarrass myself like that at my big age?
Oh no.
I had to, because y'all was just saying whatever to me. Why didn't you just tell me that you didn't know? Now I look crazy. now I look unsmart because I'm following behind my grandmother and my mother. So that's what I think about when people say crazy things to me, because them hiccups mean you're growing. And when I tell my child that, when I have a child of my own, I cannot wait for the day, because I'm going to look them in their face and say, baby, those hiccups are because you're growing. Because if I had to suffer They will too. I won't
You
do
just
this
gotta
by
carry
myself.
the torch. Just carry the torch.
Pass it right on, because I was embarrassed. So that the next time someone says something stupid to you, whatever it is, think about that. Oh, it's because they were listening to their mama and their granny. That's all it was.
I mean, you make a good point, because I mean that stuff is taught down generation. You know what I mean?
Why we have to fix schools.
Right.
Just can't. It's much easier to fix it from the beginning than try to backtrack.
Right. Exactly. That story's hilarious. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. And now every time you pick up, you'll think about me and my mom.
I just think that I would be about. I think I'd be about 8 feet tall, if that's what that meant.
Same.
I'm already tall enough as it is. I don't need to get any bigger.
Well, here's what I want to know. So you've got the online bookstore, which is, it's very exciting. You got the online bookstore. What are the plans for the physical store?
So I want to see what the winter looks like with the pandemic, or as I like to call it, the panoramic. I am nervous because when I originally put up the GoFundMe, things were looking like, I was like, oh, this looks realistic to me. Like I can do this safely.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to see what we do with the winter. If the winter is good and we get some more, funds in the GoFundMe and stuff like that, then I'm thinking next year to have a physical place. And like the first event that I want to do is going to be like an adult book fair. Like,
and I'm coming.
Oh yeah, we're all coming.
You are totally invited.
Where, without totally giving away your complete location and maintaining your own safety, where's the bookstore going to be generally?
So I live in North Jersey.
Okay.
So I wanted to be in this area because
so you're not far.
Yeah, you're close. She's in New York. I'm in Virginia.
Oh, okay.
So
I grew up in Rockland, so I'm not far from you.
Oh yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
So there are no Black-owned bookstores around here.
There's hardly anywhere really.
Anywhere really, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I need a face that changes that, because I feel like when I was a kid and I was like this nerdy girl that loved to read, like I was the oddball out. And like even like I was the only Black girl in all my honors English classes. I was like, I'm like, if I saw someone like me, long nails, big hair, big glasses when I was a kid, that was like, put together, but also as well ghetto, I would have been comfortable being me.
I understand.
I would have been comfortable being myself. Like I need the little girls and even the big girls, even the grown women to know, like, oh, she could do it, I could do it. Like I need to be that example for them. So I have a vision in my mind. Like I cannot wait to get a bunch of people drunk at a adult book fair. And like we gonna drink the alcohol and like play silly games like a drunk spelling bee, like all of the nerdy things.
It's gonna be great.
That it's gonna be so much fun. Just all of the nerdy things that we did as kids but were picked on for. Like I want to have this open space as adults, like, oh, we can do this now and be confident in ourselves doing it,
Here's the plan, right? So whenever she has the grand opening for the physical store, I'm driving to your house, and then we could just drive to the grand opening. So
I'm with it. I can't wait.
I love the whole message you're putting out there about women seeing themselves and regular women and being able to embrace who they are inside, because I think it's so easy for all of us to be like sort of indoctrinated from a young age to be a very certain kind of woman, and there's only like one kind of woman that's really going to succeed, and no, you can actually express yourself and be yourself, and it's okay to do that. Like,
just
and you don't have to wait till you're like 40 to do it. Like just be yourself now.
Right. And it's like I was never confident just being Shelbey, right? Because again, working in corporate America, like I always had to subdue myself. Like I had to put Shelbey on a back burner and be what they told me to be, because who I wasn't enough for whatever.
That
and
code
like
switching.
Right. I had to spend a lot of time looking myself in the mirror and telling myself that I am enough. I am enough. I am enough. The way that I am right here, right now, I am enough. And you know what? It's not personal when other people don't see me as enough, because that says more about them than it does about me.
100%.
Facts.
That is you.
Facts.
That is you.
Facts.
How you feel about me is totally your business.
That's not your burden to cross.
Nope.
Exactly. I am enough. Whatever you got going on, that's your business, baby. That ain't in my hands. You know, you take that up with whoever you believe in, whoever you pray to. You take that to them or your mama.
You gotta figure it out yourself.
Ain't got nothing to do with me.
I do not
but also, it's another reason why I close out all of my videos and all of my emails and all of my things with, if no one has told you today, I love you. I love you. If nobody else does, if you've never heard it before from those people in your life that should have been saying it to you, if you can't get that partner of yours to say it to you, it don't matter. Shelby love you. I love just the way that you are. Kind, smart, angry today, feeling inadequate, depressed, whatever it is, I love you.
Yeah.
I love it.
Wow.
I love it so much.
Thank you.
Shelby, where were you
so
when
important.
I was like 25?
Probably somewhere eating snacks. Eating a snack.
Wow. So how is the store going? You're open, 3 months, you said?
Yes. So far, so good. I had an original goal of like 100 sales in like the first 2 months. I did that in a month. Like I'm almost to my 200th sale.
Wow.
And
I love it.
It's a learning curve. Like when people ask me, I try to be as honest with people as I can. Like I don't want to scare anybody. And again, excuse my language. I cuss sometimes, but
don't worry, so do I.
Being an entrepreneur ain't for no weak bitch. It is not. There are days where I'm just like, you think if I call them, they're gonna take me back? Like I was a really good worker. I was a really good worker, and you don't really realize all of the things. Like I am literally responsible for everything.
Yep.
And it's fulfilling, but also it's scary because there are some days where I'm like, I don't feel like doing this. And I'm like, okay, but you not feeling like doing this may mean that you don't get any sales today. And then what does that mean?
Yeah.
So it's, I'm proud of myself. I'm learning what works, what does not work. And it's really one of those things like running your own business is a faith, right? I remember I had a conversation with a friend of mine who has a podcast called the Learn Life Podcast, and I said to him, you seem so confident all the time. How do you do that? And he said, the only option is my success. That is the only option. Now, that may mean that it doesn't look like the way that I had it planned out in my mind. That may mean like in order to get to my success, I gotta shake and move and I gotta adjust and do whatever. But the only outcome is my success. That is it. And that is what I live my life by, right? There are going to be days where I don't have any sales. There are going to be days where I have like 40, 50 sales in a day. There are going to be weeks where maybe there's going to be nothing, right? Things are going to happen. But all that I know is that my success is the only option. So whether the sale come today or they all come on Friday, I know that it's going to happen.
They're coming.
Right. Absolutely.
It's going to happen. And as long as I do my part, I can't control anything else because whatever I get is what I'm supposed to get.
And it's probably a really good idea that you started the store online first, like look at it like training wheels before you open the physical store.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you're like, you would have gotten your feet wet, you know?
Exactly.
Yes.
And it gives me a time to get a lot of things in order with, okay, how do I want to do this? How do I want that to look? What is this going to be like? Like all of that kind of stuff. I'm learning it now. So once I have a store, I'm not a physical store. I'm not, oh, what do I do? Or I don't know how to do this or whatever. Like you're absolutely right. It is definitely like training wheels, so to say. But it's my mindset every day. Even when I wake up and I'm just like, I don't know. My outcome is, okay, cool. That's valid. That feeling is valid. But you don't have to know. Everything is not your business.
Yeah.
You don't have to know. It's not going to make sense. A lot of things don't make sense sometimes. Like I'm just like, okay, God, I guess I don't know. But my success is the only outcome.
Yeah, I think you're going about it the smart way, because like now, like you don't really have overhead, but once you get that physical space, now you got overhead. Yeah. You know, the whole game changes.
Yeah.
I hope there's some New Jersey small business grants or something that you could take advantage of.
There should be some small business loans.
There should be.
And the government also has a small business loans.
Yeah, they
like the federal.
I've been like just taking my time, you know, like I really have been just like, I'm open to learning. Like all of that stuff, like once we get closer to like, okay, I need to tie down a spot and all of that stuff, I'll start to look more into the loans and stuff like that. But I've just been, it's all about learning. Like everything is a lesson, you know, and I'm like that little kid with my notepad, like, oh, okay, when I did this worked. When I did that worked. Okay, this one didn't work. Okay, they don't like these books. Like, you know, it's been, it's definitely all about learning.
It's such an important thing to have a young, I feel like I'm not quite old enough to say a young person, but a young person doing something so independently and so risky and so like inherently like, you know, anxiety producing, because we're so focused on sort of the instant gratification, I feel like, and not understanding that sometimes you don't get everything right away. And yes, you do have to work hard sometimes, but like you can do big things and you can take these risks and you can do that, but you got to take things piece by piece by piece, and you face every challenge as it comes to you. And you can't falter the first time you hit resistance, because when you do that, you're never going anywhere. You're just
there you go.
There.
And you know what? That's something that I spoke about when I was at Squam. Like, if only y'all knew how many walls I've actually hit. You know, like you don't see people in the midst of things, right? No. And it's so like true. You don't see, and it's like a lot of the times I don't see how good things are going for me because I'm in it. Like
You're
I'm
in
working.
It. Yes.
And I think the downside to being an entrepreneur is I am always in the future. Like I am almost never in the present, because I'm always thinking about the next thing, right? I'm always like, okay.
The outside's all polished, and I think that's the big problem, especially in social media. So you get to see the polished thing. You don't see, like, you know, me and Naomi talking about, you know, how my video got effed up and I can't figure out it, and now I got to get it out, and my content's all fucked up and I can't figure it out and I'm angry. Well, you see is the content on the other end.
Exactly.
And you see it cleaned up and it's fine. You see the happy pictures and the whatever that's been fully edited and it's beautiful, and you see the functioning website and all of that. But you don't see the tears and the sweat and the 3 a.m.s when you're like, I don't understand.
Like, the real grind that you had to go through to make it actually happen.
You forget it. That's part of life too. It's not like I'm going to do something and now it's fine. There's a whole set of steps in between.
You know, another thing that I've been trying to get people to learn, and the people that are listening to this, be kind to your small business owners. It is just me.
Yep.
Me, myself, and I. And if I could teach the dog how to answer some of these emails, I would. But until then, it is
rub my belly.
Me. Right. And some of the emails that I get from just like, you know, there's like a national shortage on everything right now.
Yes, there is. Yeah.
I didn't get my books. Well, girl,
I didn't get your books.
Hello. Good morning. I'm well. Yeah, I had breakfast this morning. I walked the dog. And it is like, greet me, be nice to me.
Because it's different. They're not emailing Barnes and Noble.
Yeah, you're emailing
Shelbey, and they know they're emailing Shelbey. When you send an email to Barnes and Noble or Books A Million, you don't know who the heck's answering that email. Name an employee. It could be anybody. But you know this is Shelbey.
Even then, you should still be civil. I don't understand why we don't do that as much as we should be anymore. Like, it does not hurt to be nice. And in fact, you probably will get more out of somebody if you're just fucking nice from the beginning.
You know what? A lot of my followers follow my mom, and a couple of weeks ago I put in my stories, I said, you know, I'm tired of y'all talking to me crazy. I said, but I got something for y'all. I'm gonna tell my mama. That is it. I am going to tell my mother, because y'all look up to her. I said, if y'all think she's so nice, she be on Instagram and all her orange and stuff, being nice to y'all.
Laughing.
Wait until I tell her that y'all nasty to her child. You wait. I'm gonna tell my mama. That's it. That's how you get them. And it was so many people. No, I didn't mean to blah blah. Yeah, no. No. Keep that same energy that you had in the nasty email, because I'm showing my mama. I'm telling my mama that is it. Because I'm like, I don't understand. Like, y'all don't talk to Target like that. Y'all don't talk to the Amazon like that. Y'all don't go to Barnes and Nobles raising Cain over books. Like, I understand how important they are, but girl, it is just a book. Like,
right.
You will get it eventually. You anyway.
Say that again. You will get it eventually.
You will get it eventually.
It's not lost in the ether. You will get it eventually.
Well, people aren't used to the world of 6 to 8 weeks of delivery.
Well, that's so true,
too.
What
we grew up with.
Amazon.
This is what we grew up with. So now you're used to ordering something, and if it's not here in 2 days, you're like, where the fuck is it?
Right. Newsflash, folks, Amazon didn't always exist, and there was a time where we used to order things, and it would take a couple of weeks.
Well, first you gotta write in by mail or phone call it in.
But wait, how about this one? To get the 2-day shipping with Amazon, you have to pay for the Prime subscription. That's just not standard. So if you pay me the extra money, listen, I'll drive it to you myself if I have to. But y'all not paying me the extra money for that.
That's
y'all paying
right.
for standard shipping.
Standard.
Okay?
Not Shelbey shipping.
Not Shelbey shipping. Y'all paying for standard shipping. So it's just that people are the world, people are crazy.
I'm going to agree with you there.
People are
they are different. But I think they don't expect me to also as well be crazy, because I be like, girl, I'ma just cancel the order. You'll have your money back in 5 to 7 business days. I don't care.
Well, I think that's because at that point you're not a person, right? Like at that point you're a business. You're not a person.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you are a person, but
but they don't
about
it
like
way.
that. They're thinking about like, I'm emailing a business and I'm going to yell at this business, which is not a human being. It cannot be a human being, because if it's a human being, then I'm going to feel like a jerk for saying this.
Right. The one time the woman was like, oh my gosh, wait, I actually wanted the books. And I was like, you should have thought about that. When you sent this email, baby, maybe try again next time. I don't know.
Nope.
Right.
Because today it's not going to happen. Because I don't have to deal with this. So I'm going to just send you your money back.
And also, the customer is not always right.
No, they're not.
Not at all. I hated that when I worked at the bank. Oh my God. People would come into the bank random numbers, because this is how dramatic they would be. They would be like, I wrote in my checkbook that I had $1 million and 18 cents. And when I signed online, I only had $1.18. So your math is wrong. Yeah, baby, because I can write on a piece of paper that I have $10 billion, and that is not accurate. If you did not put that money in the bank account. Exactly. And then I was wrong. No, you can't count. Okay. Well then we just gonna be here all day looking for the rest of your $1 million.
Imaginary money.
I'll let you know when I find it.
Because it ain't here. Was it in the other account that you got somewhere? Because it's not. And that's everybody's reaction to everything. Well, I thought, I don't think they pay you to think. I don't think that's what they pay you to do.
They don't.
So you should stick to your day job, baby. That's, whatever they pay you for.
They're crazy.
Whatever they pay you for. Yes, whatever they pay you for.
Wow. Yeah. You know what I'd like to know? I'd like to know what are 2 things, the most important things you think you learned from starting this online store?
2 most important things. 1, you can do anything that you put your mind to. Anything. Mm-hmm. Literally anything you put your mind to. If you put your mind to it, if you think it can happen. The second thing is that I am more powerful than I realize. For a long time, one of my friends said to me, she said, you don't understand how powerful it is that you can have an idea and then make it tangible. And I was just
absolutely.
like, I never understood what she said. But then I wanted a bookstore and I made it tangible. I did it. Like I wanted a book club and I made it tangible. I did it. So imagine what else I can accomplish. Like, I really can. I make things tangible. That is me. That is magic within itself. Like I do that. Not everybody can do that. People have ideas every day that they don't do anything with. They don't do anything with. And I get ideas and I bring them to fruition.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
It is an amazing thing. And knowing that about myself, not just hearing other people say it about me, but like knowing it, like, oh, I really do this. Like, this is, I really be doing the work. Like, I was, recently I was saying, like, I feel like I don't do enough. And I know that's just the ambition in me. That is just the hard worker in me, where I'm just like, I need to do more. Like, more. Like, the people need to feel me. Like, I feel like they don't feel me enough. I need them to feel me. But I also have to take a step back and say, oh no, but like, they do feel you, because the things that you make stuff tangible, and everybody can't do that.
You are making an impact. If no one's told you that today, I will tell you that today. You are making an impact.
Thank you.
And you are loved.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yours beautiful.
Thank you. That the new website, it was, I was like, this is why they pay people for stuff like this, because building a website is not easy.
Naomi does all of our web stuff.
Because that is what I do for a living.
That is what she does.
Okay.
Easy for me.
Good to know. Listen, when you get a chance, look at my website, and just, as a friend, I just want to make sure.
Take a little notes, a couple of notes.
Yeah. Because I was like, listen, y'all gonna get what y'all get. Just on the book, you can buy it. Don't ask me nothing.
Right.
Just
well, you chose the right platform. Shopify's the right platform for you to choose, so you did great there.
Yeah, I like the new layout. I feel like it's missing something, but I don't know what it's missing. Like, you ever, like, when you're cooking and it's just like,
oh, I know.
You're like,
I'm making something and I'm like, okay, it tastes good, but it's not there yet. Like, you just staring at all these seasonings, like, which one is it? Because, like, I don't want to mess it up, but like, which one is it? That's how I feel looking at the site these days. Like, I'm just like, I like it, but I don't love it yet. And I know that it looks really good, but I'm like, there's something.
You'll find it. It'll come to you at like 3 a.m. and you'll be like, that's
oh, definitely.
Yeah.
You know what? Stuff comes
in the
to
shower.
me a lot in my dreams. I dream about a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff. A lot of people in my life be like, don't dream about me, heifer. Because every time I dream something, it end up happening. But a lot of stuff comes to me in my dreams where I'm like, oh, that's it. And like, I'm the one that's calling people like, I had a dream about you last night. You all right?
You don't want my dreams to be real. I send them to Naomi sometimes. She's like, what?
Like, no.
Well, I was a superhero in my dream last night, and it was funny. Like,
you are a superhero. You're a superhero
in a way. But I was in my dream, like, flying and stuff, and it was cool. But most of the time,
I love that.
Flying dreams are the best. I haven't had one of those in a long time.
Some of my dreams are like really, like, it's creepy how to the T that they happened.
Yeah.
But other times, like, I'm the person that, like, oh, I had a dream about some fish. That means somebody is pregnant. Like, I turned into my grandmother, like, overnight. I don't know when it happened to me. I don't know when I became my grandmother, but I am her.
Can we stop right there? Because I want to just touch on that for a minute, because my Nana, if she dreamed about fish and she said so-and-so's pregnant, you was pregnant. Like, she was never wrong, right? So did you read The Secret Life of Church Ladies?
No, not yet.
You have to. It's
so there's
good.
A story in there, and it's in that one short story, it's always like, oh, and grandmama had a dream about fish. She said somebody pregnant, right? Mm-hmm. And so in my experience, that's like a very old lady grandma black thing, if like from the South. And I'm wondering, do other cultures like have that going on? Or is that really a Southern black thing? Because I noticed when people read the book, they never mention that story. And I'm like, I don't think people have any relation to that. But when I read it, like my grandmother died a couple years ago, but when I read it, if she would have been alive, I would have called her and read that short story. Because that's my grandmama. She knew my mom was pregnant. Like everybody. I had a dream about fish, so-and-so pregnant. Every time. She's right.
A friend of mine a couple of years ago, I kept having a dream about fish. And like, it got to the point where it was like, at first I was like, okay, I don't know who's pregnant, but somebody is obviously pregnant. And I said something to her about it. I said, are you pregnant? Because I keep dreaming about fish. She was like, no, I'm not pregnant. And then like, I had a dream, like she was eating the fish. Like I was like, so I called her and I was like, Heifer, you are pregnant and it's a boy. And she got really quiet on the phone. And she was just like, how do you know that? Why was you trying to hide it from me? You knew I was going to know. Why would we do that? Like, just get it out. Just get it over it. It's a boy and you're very pregnant.
And you're very pregnant.
Every time someone reads that book, I want to ask them about that story because it resonated with me. I was like, that is my grandma. That's my grandma.
I can tell you I don't think either of my grandmas had magical dreaming capabilities. But who knows? One's dead.
My mom does. My mom does too. Because the last like hurricane or whatever that happened, there was like really bad flood. We live kind of like on a hill. So like up by where we are, nothing really happened. But further down the hill, like it flooded really bad. And I was walking the dog and I said to her, I was like, oh, like it must have been so much water that it caused like some of the cars to crash into each other. I was like, so that street is cut off if you need to leave the house or whatever. She said, you know, that's real funny. I said, why? She was like, because I had a dream that I was walking Gunner down that way. She was like, and it was like an ocean of water down the street. She was like, and I was trying to get him to go in the opposite direction so that we didn't walk into the water. And I was like, oh, well, it came to fruition. Like, I was like, you didn't get to see it, but I saw it. It happened.
Right.
If my dreams start coming true, then Jess Owens is sending me a goddamn pig in a bow tie. You know, so the other night I had this dream that Jess Owens got a pig named Ponsifer, and he had a bow tie, and then she couldn't keep the pig, so she had to send it to somebody, so she sent it to me. And then it got weird. And I actually told her this the other like the next day after I told you, and I was like, just so you know, and she was like, oh my god, a pig in a bow tie. So if a pig in a bow tie shows up on my doorstep,
I would like to be the first person that knows.
I will let you know.
Me because that is going to be hilarious.
Ponsifer has arrived. He is ready for his close-up.
I also dream about people when they're going to like if it's someone that I haven't talked to in a long time, like I usually dream about them right before they call or text me.
Oh, that's weird.
It's very, so like I get a lot of stuff in my dreams.
Do you
like a lot of stuff?
Dreams are so interesting to me.
Did you ever, back in the land of landlines, answer the phone before it rang and it was the person that you thought would be calling?
Yes.
And that was the creep. So it was the creepiest moment.
Yep.
Yeah.
It happened more often than I care to remember.
But you know, I dream about people, or like you ever like see somebody's name somewhere like all the time. That happens to me too. And I'll be like, oh, that person is probably going to call soon.
Yeah.
Like they're going to show up somewhere. We're going to run into them, or like they're going to be somewhere or whatever.
Yeah. So true.
Well, if you start dreaming about us, we need to know.
Yeah. I surely will.
We need to know what's up. What's coming down.
I tell everybody. I'll be like, yeah, such and such was in my dream. And sometimes it's weird. It's stuff that don't make sense. Like my grandmother is in my dreams a lot. But like, I'll be like, in my dream at a party or something, and then my grandmother be standing in the corner. I'd be like, what you doing here? Like, you're not supposed to be.
She's about to get her jam on. Hello.
Well, listen, we don't need to be in the same place doing that. So one of us is in the wrong place. One of us is not in the right place. And it's either me or you. So whoever it is needs to go.
Oh, man. Well, before we end the bookstore conversation and jump into just books, is there anything else that we need to know about the bookstore or your plans? Because we want to stay on top of everything. It's kind of exciting to watch someone go through this journey.
Yes.
Thank you. So there will be a sale coming up, a sale and a party. Okay, so my birthday is on October 29th. I will be turning 28 years old. There will be a 28% off sale going on. I'll probably start it the 28th through my birthday weekend, so through Halloween. But on the 29th, we are going to have a party on Instagram. We're going to be discussing the book club pick, which is Witches Steeped in Gold. And I'm going to have me on a little birthday hat, and we just going to jam out and talk about the book. And it's going to be a little birthday party.
Oh, that's so nice.
That's what's coming up next.
That's so exciting.
Excellent.
I love that.
Thank you.
This is fun.
Yes.
Well, do you want to ask her about the books?
About which books?
Her favorites.
Oh, what are your favorite books?
Like ever or like right now?
How about 3 ever and 3 right now?
3 ever. Beloved by Toni Morrison is one of my favorite books. Walter Mosley is up there on my list of favorites. and like any book by him, but the one that stands out the most to me, the one that was like the most out there because I feel like he can write anything, is A Man in a Basement. If you've never read that by Walter Mosley, read that. It was creepy, but in like a very intriguing way. One is The Men We Reaped by Jesmyn Ward.
She's an author I've been wanting to get into.
Let me tell you something. Her writing is heavy, but it is thought-provoking. She is very well written. The best way that I can describe her is like that cool aunt or cousin, like your older cousin that went away to college and is like really smart, but she still got some swag to her.
Yeah,
that's Jesmyn Ward. But you can tell that she's been through a lot, and it feels in her writing. But also, her writing is like The Men We Reaped is a memoir, right? She talks about the different men in her life that have passed away, so on and so forth. But her writing is so good that her fiction could totally be her actual life. Like you very much can see her life in her fiction, and I love that. My favorite books right now, The Rage of Dragons by Evan Winter. I want to fight him, okay? Because there's no reason I should be this stressed out about a book, and do you mean to tell me that I have to wait until February for the third one?
That's the worst part of fantasy. It's like, why you gotta make me wait?
Listen,
is this a trilogy or is it an ongoing series?
It's going to be ongoing because there's going to be a fourth one. But when I tell you, it's so. I kind of had a conversation on my Instagram story the other day about like analyzing books. I was an English literature major, so like it's in me to like see, to break down a character and so on and so forth. Without spoiling anything for you, the main character, he does not get better as a person. He does not grow up. He does not mature. He is angry, and he is going to stay that way, rightfully so. But it is very much, if you're a Game of Thrones fan, the thing that I didn't like about reading Game of Thrones is it was basically in Old English, and who has time for that?
And it's also like 900 pages of it.
Right. I'm not it. This is not written that way, but it still gives you the magic and the fantasy and the suspense and the messiness that Game of Thrones gave, because Game of Thrones is messy, like messy as a rib sandwich, messy, just stuff all over your shirt.
Messy as a rib sandwich, messy.
Listen,
needs to be a t-shirt.
Game of Thrones was messy, and that's why everybody loved it, because we like to be in other people's business, unbeknownst. We don't like to say that out loud, but we like to.
What do I always say? I love me a messy book. The messier, the better.
You want to know what's the
staring
messy
at her
book?
neighbors?
Me too. Me too. When we not recording, I'll tell y'all my crazy neighbor story. Anyway, another book that's messy is The Secret Lives of Baba Segi's Wives.
I have seen that around. I have that. That's on my Goodreads. I'm gonna cop that one soon.
Mess, because that man had a gang of wives, and they all had secrets. Okay. Each and every last
all the
one
wives had secrets.
The wives have a big secret too.
I'm here for that.
A big secret.
My wish list is just growing.
And then I'm trying to think, what else did I read this year that I would say? 7 Days in June. Tia Williams.
Everyone's loving that.
Everyone loves that one. We need to get that from the library for sure.
Am against romance. I don't like romance novels. I just feel like they're all like
be careful. The romance community is vicious.
Listen, they're gonna come after me, and they're probably gonna be like, no girl, you need to get your life together. And that's fine. I'm open to reading new things.
Be ready.
But I feel like most romance novels are like, I go to Starbucks every day, and he happens to go there too, and we happen to get our orders mixed up, and now we're in love, and he happens to be a millionaire, and now I never have to work again. And it's just like, girl, if I go into Starbucks, I'm not gonna meet a millionaire, okay? So like,
I've never met one.
Yeah.
But so many things about 7 Days in June. I felt like the characters were relatable, right? I felt like it was a depiction of a Black man in a book that wasn't just a man that was hurt. He was talented. He was complex. He was attractive. He was self-aware. He was trying to grow. He wasn't just this man that was trying not to be killed by the police or like in some trouble or some whatever.
Right.
He was relatable. Like I was like, oh, I would date him. And all his crazy, I would date him. I would, yes. I would take him.
One of him, please.
Yeah, one of him, please. Thank you. And even the character, like it was just, I think one of the opening line in the prologue is like, I almost died because I almost choked on gum while I was trying to masturbate. And like, how would my daughter figure out? Like, how would they explain that to my child who was only 12? And just from there, I knew that I was going to love the book because I was like, whoever wrote this is obviously my kind of person.
Love it.
They're obviously my kind of person. So those are the three that like stood out the most to me this year. Rage of Dragons, The Secret Lives of Baba Segi's Wives, because they had secrets and that messy. And then 7 Days in June.
Okay.
And then an honorable mention, The Push by Ashley Audrain.
I got that one. I found it at the thrift store.
Right?
Yeah, I found it at the thrift store a few weeks ago. Yeah, I got that one.
It is. There aren't many books that are about motherhood in any shape, way, whatever form, right?
Yeah.
That was a good book just because the writing was good, but like alone the topic itself was thought-provoking. There's so much that goes into motherhood. I'm not even somebody's mama, and I understand that there's so much that happens to women. Like it's pretty much the Alien versus Predator movie. There's a parasite, there's an alien in your body taking all of your things. And then it could split you open and kill you when you give birth to it. Ain't that something?
It's true.
And then your edges fall out. You got to be all of these things. You can lose your teeth. It's just it is real ghetto sounding, and nobody talks about it. It does not.
We are not good at talking about pregnancy, by the way, or anything with women's health.
That's right.
We're just bad. We are
no, we don't talk about that.
We don't talk about lady things. Lady things are
it's supposed to be a secret. Right. We're not supposed to tell anybody. But that book, it's a psychological thriller. I believe that's what it's classified as.
I think that's how they've deemed it. Yep.
And it really just talks about like how your mother was raised very much affects how you raise your child.
Yes.
And it goes on, right? Like generational trauma is passed on from generation to generation until we fix it. It is real. Right? And then it also talks about like being in a relationship that you don't necessarily like, right? And the changes of like what motherhood does to you as just a woman, but then psychologically too, and like having to express that, and maybe your partner just being like, I don't believe you. Like it's
all right.
It was really
it now.
I guess I'm gonna be reading that one this month then, because
it was really, really good.
We gotta get on that. Evan Winters is his name, right? For the Rage of Dragons.
We gotta get on that.
We gotta get on that. I mean, we've talked about it, but
I would like to sit down and have a conversation with him because.
Do you have that book, Naomi? Do you have Rage of Dragons?
No, we just keep talking about it, but we need to go ahead and get that.
Well, I mean, I have it.
Oh, boom, boom!
I'm reading.
It was a birthday present last year.
Another thing that I will say is I'm reading the second book right now, and actually, when I finish with y'all, I'm actually going in the house to read. Oh, that's another thing that I should have mentioned. I'm hosting a 100-day reading challenge. There's more information on my Instagram page.
Talk about that. What's that all about?
So,
I don't know why I turned
okay, let's do the second book of Rage of Dragons first. So I'm reading the second book. And one reason that I don't often read like series is because I feel like the second and the third book aren't as intense as the first one. And Evan Winter said, I'm not coming here to play with you people, okay? I am a writer. I write books, okay? And it has been just as intense from the first page, like 200. And I'm just like, I want to throw this book in the garbage. There's no reason for my blood pressure to be this high. These people aren't even real. And I am stressed.
Those are the best books, though.
The best. Like, I have been like on my Instagram story, on my personal page, like y'all have got to do, like somebody come and take this book from me, because like what am I gonna do when I finish it and I can't just pick up the third one? Like I am lollygagging, because I'm just like, what do you mean February? I DM
February of 2022 is when the third one's coming out.
Yeah,
I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait.
She likes to wait till things are complete.
I prefer to.
I understand. If I would have known any better, I would.
We haven't read Jade City yet, because I'm waiting on her guts to be ready. I at least got my copy. I
DM'd the publishing company and they haven't answered me yet, so I'm gonna give it another day and I'm gonna send them another
Orbit
message.
publishes that?
Yes, because I need hello, can y'all mail it to me? Like who do I have to talk to?
I own a bookstore.
They should mail it to you.
Send me the galley.
Listen, though they might not have a galley for it. They might only have finished copies. Oh.
Send her the finished copy.
Listen,
yeah.
I need.
Oh,
hello. Okay,
no, you're here.
I'm sorry.
Did you get a call?
No, an alarm went off that I thought I turned off, but yeah, I need to know what happens. Okay, so the 100-day reading challenge. I was in a reading funk. Like I was just like, I just opened a business. I need to read, but I don't want to read. Like, and I was like, I looked at my Goodreads reading challenge, and I was like, oh, I need to read like 20 books before the year's over to meet my goal. And I'm very competitive, so I'm not gonna not meet my goal.
Right.
So I was like, okay, 100-day reading challenge. It'll go to January 9th. It'll still help me get a bunch of reading done. So it started October, and I think I have like 70 people in the Goodreads group that I created for it, and everybody is reading. Like the rules are, you have to read for an hour a day. That could be a physical book or an audio book, an hour or more, and track your reading. Track it. So I use the Bookly app, which I told.
That's what we use.
Yes, I love the Bookly app. Some people are just like, no, I have a notebook. Okay, that's fine. Track your reading. Track it. Because I feel like, people don't realize how much they're actually reading until they can see it on something, Yeah,
for sure.
So far it's been so good. Like I finished the first, I finished Raging Dragons. I listened to Black Stars, which is that Amazon original. It's a series of short stories.
The sci-fi ones?
Yes.
I had those. We
have them. Yeah, I added them to my Audible, but I haven't listened to them yet. Yeah. How was it?
They're amazing. I loved each and every one of them. One author that I love that a lot of people have never heard of that did one is Victor Lavalle.
Oh, we know. The Black Tom. That was a good book.
That The Changeling is good, and his book The Big Machine, that is also good. He is amazing. More people should know who he is. He is amazing.
Absolutely, we agree. We agree.
He is amazing. So I technically, those short stories, it was 5 of them. So technically, this month I've read 6 books, going on 7.
There you go.
All because of this reading challenge. Like if not, I'd probably still be in a little slump, just not reading because being lazy. So people can still join if they want to.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to do a challenge for next year where we read every day for the year. Because another thing that I want people to kind of come to on their own, but my purpose is, when you do the things that you love, it affects your mental health in a good way. I love to read. I'm a better person when I am reading at least 1 to 2 books a week. I am a better human for it. And then when we make so many excuses, like, oh, I don't have, you do, because we didn't add no more hours just for the reading challenge. And here y'all are reading. Y'all reading every day for an hour or more.
Yeah.
So I think for the new year, that's what I'm going to do. It's going to be like open to everybody. I'll vlog my journey and, every day for a year, but that's what's going on.
I love that. That's amazing.
That's how I use my Bookly app. I have to read for 30 minutes every day. And I always read more than that. But some days, you just don't for whatever the thing is.
Right.
But if I do my 30 minutes, then I keep reading my books. I get through a shit ton of books every year. And I feel good about myself because it's a nice point in my day to escape into something else, even for 30 minutes. And making that a non-negotiable in my day has been a huge game changer for like 2 years running now. I think we're almost on 2 years straight where I've read for at least 30 minutes a day.
Yeah.
It makes a huge
difference. I'm kind of getting people more into audiobooks because there's this thing out there where people are like, oh, that's not really reading. And I'm like, are you consuming the book?
Yeah,
they can. I'm like, it is actually reading. But I'm like, there are days when I have a migraine and like actually reading something is not an option for me. So listening to something, I have a thing about like listening to the book that I'm physically reading. I can't do that. It has to be one or the other for me.
Oh, that's my jam.
We love doing them together and just
I
diving into the book.
Yes. Okay. Because for me, I can't just pick any book and listen to it. It has to be a particular book.
Oh, I can listen to anything.
Okay.
But
so like if it's like grim dark fantasy, I have to read along. Like cause I'll just zone out.
Right.
You know, but like maybe like a mystery or a crime thriller, I can listen to that all day long. But there are certain things I need to read the words as I'm listening, or else I'm just not paying attention.
I understand that. I just like, so for example, I didn't want to start listening to the second book in the Rage of Dragons is called The Fires of Vengeance, I believe. I didn't want to start listening to that, but I knew that I have to account for my hour, right? I'm the host. I can't not account for the hour.
Exactly.
So I started listening to Under the Color of Law by Aaron Philip Clark.
I've seen that around.
And I listened for like 2 hours last night because I was like, oh, this is a good book. I guess we're adding this to what I've consumed for the month because it was really good.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of getting people in the habit of don't exclude something until you actually give it like a solid try. You know, like don't just say that, oh, audiobooks aren't really reading or, oh, I don't like them. Okay, what don't you like about them? It could have just been that particular audiobook. Because there are some that are just not good.
Like narrators make a difference.
Huge difference.
They make a big difference. You know, like there's this one book, Middle Game. I love Shauna McGuire / Mira Grant. I love her. The only book that I read by her that I didn't like was Middle Game. I started reading it physically. I was like, I liked the beginning, and then it lost me. I was like, I don't know what's happening here. I put it down for a month, and I said, you know what? Well, let me try the audiobook. Why'd I do that? That was a mistake. That was the worst audiobook I've ever listened to in my entire reading life.
I can't remember any strong feelings on that one, but the audiobook for The Beautiful was painfully bad. Also, that book wasn't great, but it was painfully bad to the point where, like, it ruined the book.
Yeah.
So on the opposite of that, right? I don't at all tell people to read Game of Thrones, but listening to the Game of Thrones books.
Oh, they're good.
Kiss.
Really?
Amazing. That really narrator is phenomenal. Every last one. And that's something that I like to, and like if I'm just in a mood and like need something to listen to kind of just like lift my spirits up or whatever, I
go to Game of Thrones to lift my spirits up.
Yeah, it's messy, but let me tell you something. Game of Thrones had a chokehold on my household, okay? My mother and I, so my family didn't watch the show, but my mom and I did religiously. And like so much so, like we watched it in separate rooms so that we could.
Don't bother me.
Get your own snacks, get your own things. You go in your room, we will reconvene afterwards.
Right.
And one time
fun.
We had to watch it at my aunt's house because most of my family is in Virginia. And my aunt had came up for something, and we said to my aunt, like, oh, she was staying at my other aunt's house, and we were like, okay, we're gonna have dinner with y'all, but like we gotta go at like 8:00 so that we could get home for 9:00 and watch our show. And my aunt was like, it's like 7 TVs in this house. Like,
pick
you can
one.
Watch it here. Right. So they got a kick out of watching us watch the show because we're screaming at the television. It was that episode where the Night King got the dragon.
Yes.
And they were pulling it out of the water.
Yep.
I was like, you know what? We were literally like screaming. We were unwell.
We were unwell.
I always tell Alyssa, like, I really wanted to read the Game of Thrones series, but I keep rewatching the show that I didn't feel like I was far enough removed from it to read the books. But recently I finished my 1 billionth rewatch of Game of Thrones. But this time when I was done, I was like, you know what? I think I want to tackle those books next year. Are you ready now? I feel like I am. Like now, meaning like next year, maybe.
I think
but that depends on how we get through the Wheel of Time series.
You mean that series we're not reading? We're just talking about? Okay.
Yes, basically.
Oh, okay.
All right. Shelby, are you all right over there?
Yeah, I had to my car was doing something weird, but we're okay now. I couldn't hear y'all, and I was like, oh no, did I mess it up? But I didn't. We're okay.
Okay, because we don't see your video.
You don't see my video. Okay, I can see y'all.
Okay, good.
It's all right. It's still recording. Shelby.
Yeah, there you are.
Okay. All right.
Good.
So I don't know what we started reading the Wheel of Time series in January. We read book 1, but then 1,000 other books got in the way, and we have not continued. And I don't want to read too many series at one time. Like I'm starting this other grimdark series next year called The Black Company, and that's like a lot of books. And then there's the Wheel of Time, and that's 13 books,
something like that.
So I don't need to start another big one. Like that's overkill.
I totally understand. I don't think that I will. So I kind of have a thing against big books, but not anymore.
Oh.
I know. I'm sorry. I love y'all. I do. I knew that y'all was gonna make that face at me. I wasn't gonna say it, but now that we're here, we can't be friends for real if we don't get, talk about the elephant in the room. So when I bought Rage of Dragons, I was just like, this sounds like it's gonna be real good. But who in God's name is reading 600 pages? Not Shelby. But then I started the reading challenge, and I was just like, girl, you always telling people to diversify their reading. Like, how we gonna do that? And you don't even want to read a long book. Like, practice what you preach, in the good words of Teddy Pendergrass.
Yes. Yes.
That is my song too. Teddy Pendergrass. Wasn't he fine back in the day?
He absolutely was a good-looking man.
Attractive.
Suave, smooth skin.
Listen, he said turn off the lights, and I would have been flipping. He said turn the lights out. But anyway. So when I started reading Rage of Dragons, I was just like, okay, I'm trying something new. Like, we don't know what's gonna happen, but I'm gonna try.
Yeah.
And I got through that book in a week. See. Again, it goes back to perspective.
They're not as scary as they look.
No, but then I picked up the love songs of W.E.B. Du Bois.
I've got that on hold at the library. I've got that on hold at the library.
I plan to read it next month.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna have to apologize to the author, because I was in my Instagram stories talking about what in God's name do she have to talk about to us in 800 some pages? What? What are we talking about that she couldn't have told us in like 350 pages? Nothing. Like nothing.
I don't know.
Nothing.
Our latest episode is about chunky books. We both recommend chunky books that we read and loved. And I don't know. I think I like chunky books because I just love being completely absorbed into whatever world or whatever story I'm reading.
Yeah,
just being there for pages upon pages upon pages. You know what I mean?
Right. I totally understand that. I'm more of I get bored. So it's just like my fear with big books is like, I'm going to get to the middle and just be like, all right already. Like the reason that I like to read is because something can pull you in, and it's just like, we're going. Where I know in longer books, it's going to be a lot of like story building and like character building, and you're growing with the characters and all this other stuff. And it's just, sometimes I just be like, that is nice, but get to it. Come on.
Not all big books are for everybody, but
that's true.
You shouldn't be shied away from, because sometimes you don't even realize, like your Rage of Dragons, just how much you're reading it because you're just so absorbed in the world.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And then there's this book like by Gaslighter or whatever that we both read that was probably close to 800 pages.
I loved it.
She was in love, and I'm like, just can it end? Like how
Right,
many,
like
I love that.
how many years
and that's
does
what like
this need to span? Like
I was like nervous about reading the second one in the Rage of Dragons, because I was just like, I guess the best example that I can use is like the Children of Blood and Bone and the Children of Virtue and Vengeance, right? The second one was a good book. It just didn't have the same impact as the first one.
Look at Naomi's face. You have
Oh, you
words.
didn't like it?
So here's what had happened.
Here's what
Okay.
had happened. What had happened was
book one. I cannot even describe my level of excitement for that book. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I waited for it. I was super hyped. It sounded amazing. And then I bought the book, and then I read the book, and I think I liked the first, I'm going to say 75 pages.
Okay.
And then I don't know what happened. After that, I was like, I am bored out of my cotton picking mind. I don't care about these people. I am not here for it. But I wanted to get through because I kept saying, no. I have waited for this book. Something's going to turn around for me in here. Something's going to turn. Nothing turned around.
That's the worst, when you're like, no, it's got to turn.
Nothing turned around.
Right. It's going to be good. It has to. Like,
and it broke my heart because I was looking forward to that book for so long, and to then read it and not really jive with it, I was really, honestly disappointed and felt kind of sad about it.
But to be
I can
fair,
understand.
you and YAR.
Me and YA, we have a very tricky relationship because I'm an old lady.
Same.
Okay.
I usually don't like YA, but I feel like everything that you didn't like about that book is because it was a YA book. It wasn't the story. It's because it's the YA, because YA is written differently.
Yeah.
And it's meant for like teenagers, kids.
Yeah.
So there's this extra oomph that we're looking for because it's not an adult book. That's exactly what it is. So I don't know.
It's rarely gonna come, I feel like.
Yeah.
Certain authors do a really good job of bridging that gap, I think, between YA and adult readers, and then some just.
Well, Alyssa knows. Like I can't
you
really.
Also don't make any sense.
I can't pinpoint what kind of YA book is going to attract me. Like I love Tiffany D. Jackson.
Yes.
I also loved that book, A Curse So Dark and Lonely. Stayed up reading that book all of the night long. Could not stop reading it. You know, but I don't know. Then it's just some other YA, and it's like, nope, I'm not here for it. Get out of here.
We just can't figure out like what Naomi
can't figure it out.
Is.
So the book that we're reading for this month, Witches Steeped in Gold, that's a YA.
Oh yeah, we didn't like.
We chose that as a book pick. I also hated that book.
Okay, my mama loved it. She listened to it and she was like, "Oh yes," like she got through it quick. But she also was reading it off the heels of Rage of Dragons, like both books. So like she was up here and the book was like down here.
Yeah.
But then, it took her a little while to like catch up.
Right.
Like she was like, "Oh, it's good," but like when you coming off of something that's like really, really good, and then you listen to it, it's kind of like, eh.
Yeah.
I just kept feeling like something was missing. Like I was waiting for something. Yeah, like it never really completely hooked me.
That was
there were moments
month for
where I was
our
like,
book club.
"Ooh, I really like this," and then I'd be like, "Ah."
But overall, like that particular month, we had chose, and we don't normally do this. We chose 3 new releases, and they were all, 2 were YA, and 1 was adult, but it read like YA, right? The Library of the Dead.
Oh yeah, that one read like a YA.
So we chose Witches Steeped in Gold, The Library of the Dead, and the DNF the ones we're meant to find. I DNF Witches Steeped in Gold. I read The Library of the Dead, and then wished I hadn't.
I thought you finished Witches Steeped in Gold.
Did I? See, can't even remember.
I read them all.
Did I finish it? Maybe I did. I have no recollection of it, but it was not a good
mind The Library of the Dead. It just wasn't an adult book. That was its problem, and it was marketed as an adult book and read like an early 2000s YA book.
Well, yeah, the language was weird with the character. I was like, I don't think teenagers talk like that. This sounds weird.
It was weird. It was there was something very strange about it.
It was weird. So, but you know.
And I don't know what the ones we're meant to find was. And I still to this day do not understand what I read.
and it was not for me.
No.
But I do know that there are people that really love it. But I don't know. The girl on the island part was great, and then it was switched to the other girl and the other sister, and I was like, I don't care. And
you guys want to
go back to the girl on the island because I liked her.
What books I haven't been enjoying? Caribbean literature. So like,
haven't been enjoying?
No, I read These Ghosts Are Family.
I didn't love that book.
And I read How the One-Armed Sister Sweeps Her House.
That one was okay. It was kind of dark and gritty, but it was okay.
My issue with both of them was like, they gave us all this information and then it ended. And I was just like, if 2 + 2 is 4 and 4 + 4 is 8, what is this? Because I like any kind of closure, like a plot, maybe. I think it's just the way that they like.
Wasn't that like a Booker Prize or something?
Which one? Oh, the one armed sister. That was that a Booker Prize short list or long list?
I
thought
don't
it was
remember.
a short list, but it seems.
Or was it the women's prize?
I thought it was the women's prize.
I think it's the women's prize.
Very good, but I haven't read it yet. I have it on like audio from Libro, but I didn't get to it.
Yeah, no, it was just like
not wanting to because I hate when a book doesn't actually have a plot.
It was I like dark books. I don't know if I'm just a glutton for punishment and I like to make myself cry, but I like dark books. Like I feel like that really brings out, like I feel like the author has to reach into a deep place to get there.
Absolutely.
So I appreciate those books. And the story was dark, but it's just like, I don't know what the darkness of the story had to do with this sister, her one arm, or how she was sweeping her house. That I like, because I'm like, so is somebody gonna lose an arm? What are we doing? And then with These Ghosts Are Family, it was like basically like a family lineage, and like I guess the point of the story was like you're not so far removed from your family trauma and your family secrets as you think you are.
Something
I guess
like that.
But it was just like all of this information, and I was just like, okay, what are we doing with it? Like, what?
Yeah.
Who are all? Why are you introducing me to all of these extra people? What exactly is it that we're actually talking about here, and why? Like, I haven't been enjoying it at all, and I want to, but I
wanted to. I mean, people were saying really good things about it, but for me, it was just fine. But it was also one of those kind of books where immediately when I'm done reading it, I remember nothing. Like nothing.
Yes.
It did not stick with
and
me
it's like,
at all.
Absolutely. But it was just like, I like things that are thought-provoking, but like thought-provoking with a purpose, right? And it was just like, there was all this information in These Ghosts Are Our Family about this family lineage, like back to like slavery time. And it was just like, okay, all of this is really interesting, but why? What am I doing with this information? And I feel like with something that strong, like it shouldn't be left up to the reader's imagination. I should be able to know exactly what you want me to know.
Yeah.
And with that one, I was just like, okay, girl, all of these people are related because slavery. Okay, now what? Like, are they going to reconcile? Are they going to, like, are we friends now? Are we sad? Are we happy? Like, what are we doing?
Agreed.
You're not selling either of these books.
Sorry.
But on the flip side, Nigerian authors, top tier. Top tier. I have not read a book by a Nigerian author that I did not like. From an African author, to be honest, that I did not like. There is just a way with words, a way that they
care to give us a couple of recs?
The Death of Vivek Oji.
Oh, I've wanted to read that for a long time.
That book right there. First of all, heartbreaking. Also, a lot of beauty in it, especially towards the end.
So it's those books, like them tiny books, they pack a punch every time.
Every
I always
time.
tell people, I said, you be wary if you pick up a book and it's less than like 250 pages, you gonna cry. It's you gonna learn something.
Yeah, that one is a for sure winner. Yes.
It was just thought provoking, right? You don't realize. I think one thing that I took from that book, the biggest part of it that I took from that book, is you only know about somebody what they tell you.
Yeah,
that is all you know. You only know what they tell you. 2, you don't realize how connected we all are to each other. You don't realize how much you need the person next to you until something happens, until you don't have information, until you are at rock bottom. You don't realize your community, and you don't realize, like, on both ends, like, you need somebody to lift you up and to ground you also as well. Yes. It was an amazing book. My sister, the serial killer.
Okay. I tried reading that one in 2019. And I think I need to try it again. Because that's what I tried to listen to, and I think I need to just read it.
I tried to read it. I don't feel like I like the first person narrative of it. I think
that's what I enjoyed the most.
I think it was all great, the story. Like, I was really, like, the whole premise, everything, like, I'm into it. But that first person narrative, it irritated me. Like, I kind of felt like it would have been better in third person.
I understand what you're saying, but I also think that if you know a Nigerian person, the sarcasm in that book and the way that it's written would make more sense to you, because it's supposed to be funny. That is to me a very Nigerian book. Like a very
I see. Okay.
When I was reading that, I was like, oh, she talks like the friends that I have or the people that I know that are Nigerian. A lot of that book was supposed to be, I think there are some people that read that book like, oh, super serious, dark, her sister's a serial killer, where it's really supposed to be kind of like satire.
Yeah. It's really comedic.
Yeah.
Right. Like, it's supposed to be dark comedy. And it's like, girl, stop calling me every time you kill somebody. Stop doing it.
So we need to do a reread.
Yeah, we need.
I think you should read it again.
So we need to approach it differently.
Yeah.
Approach it differently. Because then once you get to the end of the book and you realize that her sister is not really the issue.
Okay.
She's the issue because of this dark thing that's happened to them. But now it's like she's got to take responsibility because she's the big sister in all of this.
All right, that's on the list. We'll read that one again.
We're gonna
for sure.
My Sister the Serial.
Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely redo it and try to think of it as a light read. Don't think of it as I'm about to read about somebody killing somebody else and then somebody complaining. Think of it more as like your friend is calling you to vent. Think like, girl, let me tell you about my little sister. Because every time the phone ring and I see it's her, I don't want to answer. You want to know why? Because she probably killed somebody. And I'm tired of that little heifer killing people. And like, think about it that way. Think about it as your friend calling you to vent, and I think you may consume it a little bit differently.
Okay, but you know what? Thank you for that. That's useful. Yeah.
Because we did like Out, which was not exactly dark humor, but it was. And I was thinking of My Sister the Serial Killer a lot while reading that, because they both have this basic plot line of somebody gets murdered, somebody else has to help clean up the mess.
Right.
And that escalating, and there being dark humor in those moments. But that was more like thriller dark than dark humor, it sounds like.
Yeah, right. It was a crime thriller, a Japanese crime thriller. It was really good.
My Sister the Serial Killer is, I think it's another one that's like less than 200 pages. I want to say less than
it's very short.
150 pages. Like, it was a very fast read, but read it like I said, like somebody's venting to you. Like it was a conversation with you and your friend. Like you're the friend that's getting the conversation. Another one that I'll say, I haven't finished it yet, but I know that it's gonna be a favorite of mine, is Honey Butter Pig Bread.
That is on the list. There is a guy on YouTube. His channel was something like pop culture or pop something, an Asian man, and he was talking about that book. And I was watching this video some months ago, and I was like, "That sounds fantastic." And I'm always looking when I go to the thrift store, and I haven't found it yet, but I'm gonna thrift it.
Have you guys read The Prophet?
Yes.
By Robert John.
Listen, that was our February pick.
And it's one of our favorite books.
And we have not stopped thinking or talking about it since.
Okay. I think we mentioned it in like every other episode.
You know the spiritual aspect of The Prophet? That is in Honey Butter Pig Bread.
We got to get that.
We're in then.
Something that stuck out to me from like the first page of that book is death is a doorway. Death is a doorway. Death is a doorway. That is all it is. It is getting you from point A to point B. Death is a doorway. And we all are spiritual beings that have to maneuver through this, and we have to do certain things. So being in your body is one of your requirements, but all death is a doorway.
Oh man.
And I was like, oh.
Have you read Orchestra of Minorities?
No, I haven't.
I don't have that one.
I thought one of us has it.
I think you have it. I know I talked about it because the cashier at the Whole Foods was telling me that's the book she was currently reading.
Yes, I have it. Hold
up. Because who doesn't talk to their cashier when they're checking out at the grocery store about books?
So, and this is Nigerian, and I absolutely loved the way this was narrated because it's narrated from the perspective of the person's soul or their id or whatever the spiritual, I can't remember what it's called, but the spiritual self. And it was just such a really interesting way to narrate a story because they want to help. They know all the things. They can't do anything about it. So it was this really creative way of having third person omniscient narration of a story. And it was
listen, I'm gonna have to go get that right now.
And it's a little depressing, but it's really, and I think it's like an Odyssey sort of retelling.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And it's really kind of heartbreaking, but it's so good.
Those are my kind of books.
Contemporary twist on the Odyssey.
Yeah.
Those are my kind of books. I don't know why I like books that are sad and that hurt and all of that.
Because they are so good.
This poor guy can't catch a break to save his life. And every time you think he does, he doesn't. And it's just you're constantly rooting for him and his little spirit's trying to root for him. And it's just not happening. And it's a wonderful exploration of all of the spiritual side of things, of society, I guess, within Nigeria and the hierarchy of people and different social classes mingling. And then he leaves Nigeria and goes other places throughout the narrative. So then there's a whole other realm of social things that kind of can get discussed. And it's really good.
You know how in marketing, how in business they have that saying, always be selling, always be marketing. I feel like with us, it's always be buying books.
Yes, always be buying books.
Always be buying books.
They didn't sell themselves.
Books all the time. But it made me think to you guys' question earlier, favorite books of all time. American Gods by Neil Gaiman.
Really?
I have not read that.
I have not. Wait, I'm sorry. That's a lie. I have read one Neil Gaiman book because we read The Graveyard something.
Let me tell you something.
Really?
He lives up by Bard College. He teaches at Bard, right? So he's up.
I would love to meet him.
We can stalk Bard College. I've already said I would love to stalk and find him.
To meet him, just to say thank you. Because
really,
American Gods should be a classic already. I feel like everybody should read it because it's a take on something that I feel like if you're a reader, you naturally love any kind of mythology. We all have some affinity for Greek mythology, Norse mythology, whatever, and he's made it tangible. He's made these characters we get to. I think when I was in high school, I loved reading the Odyssey and all of that stuff. but I had really boring teachers, right?
Yes. Isn't it amazing how different teachers can spark your joy?
Yeah.
And others can just make you feel horrible.
It's one of those things where there isn't like, they kind of need to reinvent the wheel. Like, we need to learn about the gods. I think that's important, but also like in a different way. And he does it in a different way. He also, I think my favorite from him is the Anansi Boys. Because
what? We're both on a good read. What?
I love me some Neil Gaiman. I love him. I think if I had to sit down and do like a top 10 in no particular order, Neil Gaiman would be on there. Walter Mosley, James McBride, my God today. I love me some James McBride.
Wow.
Jesmond Ward. I'm trying to think. Who else? Of course, you know, classics, Toni Morrison, Zora Neale Hurston.
Right.
Why are people calling me?
Because they know you're busy.
That's exactly why. If I wasn't talking to y'all,
nobody would be calling.
Nobody would be.
Right. I would be calling the people. But yeah, like Neil Gaiman, I think he's a phenomenal writer. I think he weaves the story together very, very well. Also, I might be biased because I am obsessed with Odin. Just as like, if Odin was like, if it was like, he would be my deity of choice.
Because I may have to see if my library has that one, American Gods. Because now you're making me want to read it.
We can totally go Neil Gaiman hunting.
Listen, I think, and there has like, just his writing style is very it's not complex to me. Like, I feel like his writing is good, but it's just like, oh, I'm telling you a story. And I feel like there's a difference between someone who knows how to tell a story and a good writer. I feel like they're two different people. And sometimes you get a mix of both. You get someone that's a very, very good writer, and you get someone that's a very, very good storyteller. Neil Gaiman is a very, very good storyteller. Neil Gaiman could tell me, he could recite the alphabet to me and make it interesting. I'm pretty sure. I wouldn't put that against him.
Wow.
I love American Gods. But again, I love Norse mythology. Like, I love Odin so much as a god because he is petty and he speaks to the pettiness of my soul. Odin is like, I'm not going to kill you. I'm going to kill your great, 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 great grandniece that doesn't even know you existed because you walked in my path 6,000 years ago.
Yep.
Oh, now that's petty.
Childish. Okay, Odin.
The Norse gods are all very fascinating.
They are, because they don't have good sense. Like, it was all very much, I want to kill and I'm just gonna do that. And very like tricky, and like I don't have respect for anybody because I am the guy. Odin is very much like, there was me and there was only me. I was the first, and y'all gonna respect me even if I got to kill your niece. That's not even gonna, I know she gonna be born because I'm a god, but it's not gonna happen for 10,000 years from now, and I'm gonna wait for 10,000 years, and I'm gonna make her life miserable because
what they say petty is patience.
Listen, petty is patience. And Odin, he is my favorite. Sarcastic, witty, like, will let you think that you're gonna get over on him.
Oh wow.
You're not.
No one has ever made me want to read Neil Gaiman like this before, ever.
I love
I'm getting on my library app, and I'm going to see if they have it, and I'm going to get it.
I love Neil Gaiman, and I hope you enjoy it. I really do hope you enjoy it. You may, like, I tell people all the time, like, I'm enthusiastic about books in general, but the books that I love them hard. I want everybody to read them. So I mean, I hope you enjoy it. Anybody listening, if y'all do enjoy it,
I will let you know for sure.
I love me some Neil Gaiman, and when I saw that the show was coming out.
Oh, that's right.
American Gods. We have to redo My Sister's Serial Killer.
Mm-hmm. And we got to do, what is it? Honey
butter pig bread.
That. Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got 3 assignments.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. And honey butter pig bread, like, I put it down because I was like, oh, I don't want this to end.
Ooh.
I don't want it to end, so I put it down. I was like, yeah, no, I'm not ready to finish that yet. You want to know what else made me do that?
Wow. Call
Baby by Morgan Jenkins.
I have that audiobook, but I need to get it from the library to read along with it. I heard that one was really, really good.
I
haven't even heard this.
I like magic. I very much like magic. I think that's why I have an affinity for Zora Neale Hurston, because she's, if you guys know, she's very much the hoodoo priestess of our lives. She is very much rooted in that. I love magic. I love that part of Black Southern culture.
Right.
How we how our ancestors took what they had in our homeland of Africa and mixed it with what they gave us from their slave masters and made something of our own to get us by, to give us hope, so on and so forth. That is all really interesting to me. So Call Baby is basically, there are babies that are born still in their sacks, and you call that a call. And mostly Southern Black people will tell you that that's a baby that's sighted, right? That if a baby is still born with their call, they have the power, the magic, and it could be a sight, it could be whatever the case may be. So in this book, they're using the call to give it to people so that people can have the power from it. And in this, you kind of like grow into your call, so you have it all your life. So that's the premise of it. And there's this really big family, like a Black family in Harlem, that is using their call and selling it for all of this money so that people can use it to like heal and to like do all of these things, like get more money, like all of this stuff. And I don't want to like tell you the whole thing, but that's basically what you need to know. Okay. And then there's a baby that's born that has the call that's outside of their family. But like that's a whole nother story. But they end up adopting the baby, and that's all I'm gonna tell you.
Oh wow, that's a lot deeper than I thought it was. Okay.
Yeah, it's very much like I didn't want that one to end either, so I stopped it.
Oh man. That was one of our Libro picks a few months ago.
I thought it was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh wow. We love talking books with you, Shelby.
I know, you're great.
This is fun.
Come on, anytime.
Thank you.
Wow.
I love this. I love talking to people about books. I don't have many book friends, so I hope y'all know y'all stuck with me now.
Well,
good. We'll keep you.
You know how to reach us. You know what we do. We're coming to the grand opening of the bookstore. Like,
yes, we are.
Oh, we're coming.
It's a done deal. It's a done deal. So
y'all are stuck with me.
Oh man, this has been so fun. Listen, tell the people where they can find you.
Yes.
And your bookstore.
I am Shelbey and the Bookstore on Instagram, but Shelbey is spelled Shelbey. Don't leave out my extra E. My mama will come and find you, okay? Shelbey and the Bookstore. My website is shelbeyandthebookstore.com. I am on YouTube at Shelbey and the Book Club. I post videos every week, at least I try to. But I'm always on the Instagram. You can DM me, you can ask me questions. I love talking. You probably gonna be stuck with me after you start a conversation with me, so just keep that in mind. And I'm gonna encourage you a lot, and I'm gonna tell you that I love you a lot. So just
deal with
love that.
That's it.
And your 100-day reading challenge is already in the works, and it's going to end on what date?
January 9th.
Okay. Get into it, folks.
9th. So yeah, still join if you guys want to. I just want people to be reading. It's good for you.
Yes.
It's good for you.
Yes.
It is very good for you.
We so appreciate you coming on the show. This has been so fun.
Yes,
I'm
it has.
So glad that you and Naomi connected, because I don't think I would know you without Naomi, and you're just an absolute joy. And I'm so glad.
Thank you.
The way people bring people together into each other.
Yeah.
Yes. I love it. Thank you guys so much for the opportunity. I love doing stuff like this.